How did I, as a coach, get 80% closing rate on my discovery calls? My name is Asadel Johansson. I am a sales coach / marketing consultant. I've been in the game for 3 years, and I want to explain how I have 80% closing rate on my discovery call / sales calls. So there are 3 things that skyrocket my close rate, and I will share them with you in this video. Before I do, make sure you subscribe on the channel so you don't miss out on further content. So now let's get into it. Number 1, you have to be present on those sales calls. And what I mean about that is that you have to be totally mindful about who you're speaking with and the person that will show up on the meeting. You have to be there emotionally, physically, of course, and you also have to be there mentally. And why that is important to be very mentally and present on those calls is that the prospect will hear and feel your energy throughout the whole call. So make sure to be very present before you hop on a call with them. Number 2, you have to follow a framework on those calls. There are so many people who just hop on a sales / discovery call with a potential client and they're not following any structure. They're just following themselves and just the flow of the call. And that means that in the end of the call, nothing happens because everything just was a chit chat. So they were chit chatting, talking about their day, their business. However, they were not controlling the call, so it didn't lead anywhere. So it's very important to be following a structure or a framework throughout the whole call. So you are the one controlling the conversation that leads into a closed sale. Number 3, you have to always be talking to people. And what I mean about that is that you should not have just 1 or 3 sales calls per week. You should always have people to talk to throughout the day. You know, as someone who makes money, we are speaking to a lot of people, right? As closers and as coaches, you know, we're onboarding a lot of clients. So you have to be speaking to a lot of people throughout the day. So you should be focusing on getting more calls, and that could be to hire a marketing team or doing advertisement or just doing simply outreach and content. So having more calls, that will increase your closing rate because you will have more chances of following the framework, which is very important. By following the framework, you can master that framework and use it in every area of your life. You know, when you're selling more high ticket offers, when you increase your prices, when you're selling something else for someone else. When you master a specific framework on those calls, you will increase it because you will be you can be more playful with it. You will learn how to change it a little bit according to your offer, but always following a structure on those calls and doing as many calls as you can will increase your closing rate. Now let's go back to number 1. In the beginning I mentioned to be totally present on a call, and how can you do that? So there are many ways you can do that. By one way I like to do is to meditate. So about 10 minutes before a call, I make sure to sit down on the chair and I have the computer in front of me with the camera, and I sit and do 4 minutes in, just breathe in, and then 4 minutes out. So this is how it would look like, okay? So I would sit down like that, have a straight back, and just sit and meditate for about 5 minutes, and breathe in like this. And breathe out. Now that's very simple, right? But most people, you know, they go out throughout the day. Oh, I have a call now, and then you sit down quickly, put on the meeting, and start talking. And they're so stressed. It's very important to do mindful meditation for about 5 minutes before a call to be totally present. And how would that help the other person you're talking to? If you can sense that you are totally present on the call, I wouldn't like to buy from someone who's stressed, who are thinking too much. You can sense that when you're speaking to a person, if he's on the call or if he's not on the call, right? I've been speaking with so many people who are just talking over me, who is not listening, and who are just trying to pitch and sell me like, please buy from me. I want to help your business. Please buy from me. No, so I wouldn't do that. And that comes by being mindful on the call, to be totally present and listen to the other person rather than speaking all the time. Because most of our days, we go out through our days speaking to our families, our friends, and everyone is speaking about me. I want this, me. And if you can show up in their life on a call and just be totally present, just listen, you will be a very interesting person. Wow. It was a long time ago I had someone who listened to me, and that helps a person to buy easier. Now let's go to number 2, following a framework. Now most people are not following any framework, or they're just following a script. So they are following the script. So you say this line here, it becomes very robotic. Or they're interrogating that person with a lot of questions, and in the end they ask a question, would you like to buy? And they say no, because they are not feeling anything throughout this call. So it's very important to follow a structure which I call the doctor framework. And this framework is very simple. So it's a 4 step-by-step process. So the first few minutes you do a small talk, and then you set the authority. So this is the first step of a sales call. You set the authority by saying, hey name, I say, hey Peter, this call will go this way. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions which are prepared for you, and see if you're a good fit. And I will explain exactly how my offer works and everything. And in the end of the call, you can say if you want to be a part of this or not. Sounds good? He will say, sure. So now you have established the authority. The second step is to figure out his problem, what he's struggling with, by asking him, so what motivated you to hop on a call with me today? What are you struggling with? So let him explain exactly what he's struggling with. Then you go and find out where he would like to go. So this is his dream state he would like to get to. And when you figure that out, you just briefly mention, I hear you. So what I hear is that you're struggling with this and you would like to get to this point. Now, let me understand what's missing in order to get there, you think. What's missing? So now you bridge the gap. So he is here. What's missing here in order to reach his dream? Figure that out, and then you say, well, Peter, without any guidance, without any help, what is missing? Why can't you do this alone, let's say, without any guidance? So you find out why he cannot do it by himself, and that could be he doesn't have time for it, can't spend 3 years figuring out and learn a new skill. He want to learn from someone who knows what they are talking about. So now you figure out, bridge the gap, and let him qualify himself to you. Now, when he says, all right, I can't do it by myself, man, because I don't have time. Well, then you start presenting the offer. So this is the last step. So the last step is to say, well, Peter, I hear you, well, I can help you with that. Would you like to hear my offer then, how we could start working together? Sure, let me know the offer, please. And now you present the offer. Now you say the offer, and then you say the investment. So the offer is this, blah, 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 blah. And the investment is $5,000. Now, after you say the price, just be quiet, see what he's saying about it. Maybe he needs to do an installment plan or whatever it might be. Just handle those last objections. Figure out what kind of a payment options he can do, if you can do it on a credit card or a debit card, and then you grab a payment and then you start working with that client. Now, when you are present on the call and following this framework, the third step, as I mentioned, is to just do as many calls following this framework as you can. And that could mean by, find out how you can book more calls so you can follow this framework and master it. And the moment you have a potential client, you just know instantly, all right, if this is a qualified lead, I will close him, because I've done so many calls with this framework. And after a few calls, you don't have to look at the Google document anymore. By following this framework, you will have it in your mind. And that's how you will become very good at sales, by following a specific thing that works and keep doing it. Getting no's, getting yes, getting no's, getting yes, yes, yes. It comes a moment when you know exactly who you would like to speak to and who you can close as a client, if you want to. You can turn it off, you can turn it on. Do I want this client? Yes. Then you set the authority. Then you figure out the problem, figure out the dream, and bridge the gap, and then you close the client. You can literally turn it off, turn it on in your own mind. Now, if you want me to help you increase your close rate, book a call with me in the description and we will make it happen.